Hello friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about Jet Airways bailout plan. Jet Airways is one of India's top 3 airlines in the past 1 decade. So in the last 10 years, Jet Airways has emerged as one of the 3 top airlines in the country and it is founded by Naresh Goyal. So these are some facts that is not very important but you should know about it. Now, coming to why Jet Airways is in trouble, we can say that it is mainly due to 3 reasons. One is competition, second one is due to increased cost of operations, and third one debt. So let us analyze each cause one by one. The first one, competition. So in the mid 2000s, what we have seen is that the Jet Airways had started dropping the fares, or they had started decreasing their airfares, and this is because it was in the mid 2000s that many other budget carriers started flooding in the market. For example, Indigo Airlines, SpiceJet. So these were all budget airlines which provided low fare services to the customers. So it had led to increased competition in the market. So consumers or the customers had many choices. So they were able to choose from different choices that provided them air services at lower cost. So it was in mid 2000s that the emergence of low budget airlines started flooding in India, and due to increased competition that was brought in by the low fare airlines or low budget airlines in the market, Jet Airways had to reduce the prices. So this was one reason they started incurring losses in the business. So due to high competition, they had to decrease their prices, which had impacted their margin of profit, and then they had started incurring losses. The second one was due to increase in the cost of operations. First of all, the provincial taxes on jet fuel increased to 30%. So this was one major reason the cost of operations increased. And also the Jet Airways started providing free onboard services. So the onboard services like the meals, free entertainment, etc., Jet Airways provided, because budget operators charge a premium for providing onboard services like meals, entertainment, etc. So if you observe, if you travel by budget airways like Indigo, SpiceJet, etc., you have to pay extra money for your onboard meals or any other service that you take on board. But Jet Airways, it is a full-time airline. So for a full-time airline like the Jet Airways, mostly it offered the services on board free of cost. So this also added to their cost of operations. So all these together increase the cost of operations on one hand. On the other hand, increased competition had compelled Jet Airways to decrease the fares. So together, the profit margin of Jet Airways came down. And the third one was debt. So because of lower profit margins, the debt also increased, and they started making defaults on the loans that they have borrowed. Also, the payments to the staff, to the lessors, etc. also delayed. So delayed payment and also defaults on loans increased the debt burden of the airlines, and this also landed the Jet Airways on trouble. Now let us understand what is the proposed bailout deal. So the group of lenders for the Jet Airways is led by the State Bank of India. So the group of lenders has come up with a common plan which is led by the SBI. They have decided, or they have proposed, that they will take 50.1% stake of the Jet Airways for ₹1. So this is the proposed bailout deal. Now this 50.1% means a majority of the stake would be taken up by the lenders. And why at ₹1? This is because the debt of the Jet Airways to this group of lenders is very huge. So instead of the debt defaults, the proposed decision by the group of lenders is that they would be taking the stake, a majority stake of the Jet Airways at ₹1, or we can say at a nil amount. So this is the proposed bailout plan, and this will be done through the issuance of 114 million new shares in the Jet Airways. And actually what happens when this 114 million new shares will be issued, and this shares will be purchased by the group of lenders. So in fact, what really happens is that the debt is being converted into shares. So here what really happens is the conversion of debt into shares. Now let us understand why it is significant or why it is important to rescue a private company. Jet Airways is a private company, and why government is so much bothered about rescuing a private company? It is not government company. So what is the interest of the government? The first reason is due to the employment generation by this private company. Jet Airways employs around 23,000 people. So this 23,000 jobs would be at stake if Jet Airways undergoes a dissolution. So one major concern is the employment that the Jet Airways create. Now the second reason is that the business friendly image of the government would be in trouble. So we have seen that India has performed well in the ease of doing business index, and it is continuously or constantly increasing its ranking on the ease of doing business. So it provides a business friendly image of the government. Now if a private company in the country, and that too a very important or very significant private company in the country, undergoes a dissolution, it means that the government was not able to help that company, and it shows that the government was not business friendly. So it will impact the business friendly image of the government. So this will have a impact on the further investments by other private companies. Investment or gross capital formation is very important for an economy. So investments are very important, and this image of the government or how a government deals with any type of losses or any type of crisis would reflect how good is a government in responding to the needs of the economy. So now if a private company, especially a very important private company, undergoes dissolution, it means that government is not business friendly. So it will impact the further investments in the economy. And the third reason is that if Jet Airways moves out of the picture, this will push up the airfares. This is because the competition in the market will significantly come down. Now consider the reach of Jet Airways. Jet Airways flies to almost 37 destinations across the country. The government has targeted to increase the connectivity and to reduce the airfare. So very important and very significant company, Jet Airways, if they move out of this picture, this will increase the airfares and also this will reduce the connectivity. So this will have a very important or significant impact on the targets of the government regarding air connectivity and airfares. Now if we consider a general overview of the airline business in India, we will see that there is a very high competition in this business. The basic fares are very low, or the base fares are very low. That is because there is increased competition. There are many number of participants in the airline business in the country, and the government is also proactively supporting the airline business in order to increase the connectivity and also to reduce the fares, thereby increasing the air connectivity in the country. So we will see there is high competition, therefore the base fares are very low. And if we take into consideration some of the previous examples of failure of the airline business, one very prominent example is the Kingfisher Airlines. So it ended its operations in the year 2012, and this was also due to reduced profitability and increased debt. Now another recent example is the SpiceJet. SpiceJet Airlines also almost collapsed in 2014, even though they made a comeback. They also had to undergo a very difficult phase in 2014. And third example is the government's own Air India. We have already discussed about the Air India bailout plan in some previous lectures. So the government-owned Air India is also undergoing a very severe crisis. So from all these examples, it is evident that the airline industry in India itself is in trouble, and it requires some steps from the part of the government and also all the stakeholders in order to come up with certain solutions to end this trouble in the airline industry. And one exception is the Indigo Airlines, which has consistently made progress or profit margins in the airline business. You can find a PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries regarding your UPSC preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page, or you can email me at joyce.studiiq@gmail.com. Thank you.